We're going to look at a couple of the extra features you can throw into a standard Google form. This is one that I had made a couple of years ago, just about Shakespeare background. I embedded this YouTube video uh, of a biography of Shakespeare. And my intention with this form was not to test them on did you memorize the stuff in the video, but rather to make sure they found the right answers. So I used some response validation. So I use different sections. You can see I've got 10 different sections. And as a reminder, to add a new section, you hit that little add section button, the opposite end of add question. So I had them watch the video and put their name in and go to the next section. And in this section, there was a question. In what year was Shakespeare born? And down in the corner, I turned on response validation for this short answer question, where I said it must be a number equal to 1564. And if they get it wrong, this message pops up. It says just type the year as in 2018. Make sure that message makes sense. Sometimes with response validation, it just gives them the answer. Like, no, you need to type something like this. So double check, just make sure it's not giving it away. But you can change that. You can say it has to be text. So if it's a number, you have to say it's greater than, equal to, less than. You have all of these options. So to make a Google form for a math quiz, hey, you can force them to narrow it down somewhere, which is kind of cool. And then put your number there. If you're going for text, you can say that text has to contain blank, must not contain blank, is an email address. You can confirm that it is in fact an email address, or it has to be a URL if that's something you're collecting. And again, Google will give you that custom error text. So you can put in like, hey, you didn't put in an email address, so you can't move on, which is great. Saves you some trouble later. You can put in a length requirement. So you can say that there's a minimum or maximum character count. Hey, you have to write a paragraph with 200 words. Minimum character count of 200 words. Custom error text, add more words. You need 200, if that's the case. And then regular expression. So that it has to contain, must not contain, matches or doesn't match some particular pattern within that expression. And then you can have a custom error text. So I'm going to go back to a number equal to 1564. That's one thing that's super cool. You can validate that a response is what you want, whether it's email address, a specific number, a length of words, whatever. You can force it to say like, hey, you didn't do that yet, and get what you need out of the kids. We all know the kid who types in 2 words when he's supposed to type 200. Well, he can't submit it unless he writes it when you have it set that way. Then what I also did was with these multiple choice questions, oops, didn't mean to do that. With these multiple choice questions, in what town was Shakespeare born? I went to our options down here and I said, go to section based on answer. What that means is with each of the multiple choice options, a new drop down pops up where I could say, hey, if they pick London on the Thames, I can send them back to a particular section. In this case, I'm sending them right back to section 3, which is this one, where this question is. If they pick Stratford upon Avon, then they continue to the next section. Hey, you got it right. Move on. But if they get it wrong, I keep sending them back to this question until they get it right. You could also send them back to the beginning. Send them back to section 1, where they got to rewatch the video. So that's just a little bit about response validation and that idea of you can send people to a particular part of a form based on what they choose. I used it recently with this survey about the Greece trip since we moved it into 2021. And we said, hey, please fill out this form. We're just trying to make our plans. If they're good to go, like, hey, yeah, we're going, great. They can submit the form. That's all we need to know. If they have to cancel for any reason, then continue to the next section where I ask how they're canceling, if they're going to do it on their own or if they want to swap with another student, whatever the case might be. So based on an answer, you can submit or you can continue to the next section. So really helpful stuff, really, really useful, but it's a little more in the weeds. That's why this is a separate video, because it's different settings and kind of gets a little bit deeper in. One suggestion I can have too is I didn't name any of these sections. They're all untitled. You might find it easier for yourself if you start naming all of the sections. Like if I call this one birthplace, that might make it easier for you because now it says section 3, birthplace. So that you don't have to memorize, like, wait, was that section 5 or 6? I don't know. If you name them, you will find it easier to do that go to section based on answer option. Cool. So yeah, hope that helps. And I will be doing another video after this about quizzes.